Thanks for the short notice. But I thought it was important for us to give everybody an update. So we're going to get ourselves settled. Let us know when you're ready. Perfect. Marcus Anderson, our superintendent of the Virginia State Police, Colonel Hanley, our state coordinator for emergency management, John Scrivani, and our Secretary of Transportation, Shep Miller. Everybody's involved in our emergency management efforts today, and I thought it was important that they're all represented. I want to thank all of you for the great work that you're doing. As of 4 p.m. today, Hurricane Erin remains a strong Category 2 hurricane. The storm will make its closest pass to Virginia early Thursday morning. It will be offshore, but it will make its closest pass in early morning Thursday morning. It will bring tropical storm force winds and very dangerous marine conditions. What does that mean? Incredibly dangerous riptides, very strong surf, and of course tidal flooding. And that is what we're most worried about. Of course, that tidal flooding and the tropical storm warnings have now extended up and down the East Coast, and we are seeing it offshore on the Atlantic East Coast, but onshore for Virginia Beach, the Eastern Shore, which includes both Accomack and Northampton County. I know this. I've been there like 9 million times. Both Accomack and Northampton County. We also are seeing coastal flood watches announced across the whole region as we see the tidal flooding risk really enhance. This is a dangerous storm, and because of the size of this storm, even though it is offshore, we will see rain bands that will bring heavy rain as well over the course of tomorrow and Friday. I want to turn it over to Director Scrivani, who will give you a more detailed update on the weather pattern of the storm and what we expect. But I want to stop for a minute and just reiterate, this is a dangerous storm. And as a result, we have worked with state resources in collaboration with local resources to make sure we're well prepared. The Hampton Roads region is blessed with extraordinary depth in its first responder community because, of course, of its location and its history. But we have augmented that with support from VDOT, and the VDOT team has already been clearing drains. There's tree crews standing by in case wind damage brings down trees. We've already seen the utilities pre-position and go to work to get ready to reestablish power if there are power outages. And at this time, we do expect that the bridges and causeways will stay open. We'll continue to monitor those very closely, but bridges and tunnels will stay open as of now, and we'll continue to monitor the impacts on the Jamestown Ferry. With that said, we also have asked state police to pre-position resources, and that includes boats and crews on the Eastern Shore, into Hampton Roads particularly, and on this side of the tunnel to make sure that we have adequate resources who can move quickly should they be needed. And we also have our aerial support through helicopters and our fixed wing capabilities, all being pre-positioned to make sure we can react quickly. It is, I think, our efforts to make sure that resources are in place to support the already extensive resources from the Hampton Roads region that gives us confidence that, notwithstanding the fact that this is a dangerous storm, we are prepared. I ask all residents to stay informed. Please watch your local news. You can always log in and see what's happening at the Virginia Department of Emergency Management notices. But most importantly, make sure you have a plan. And do not drive through heavy water. Your car is not a submarine. Turn around, do not drown. At the end of the day, your decisions are going to impact so much here. And so I ask you to make good ones. Stay off the roads and stay in a safe place. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to Director Scrivani, who will give us an update on the weather.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. The first thing I want to add is, as the governor said, is our top priority here is safety. Safety for our people, our staff, and all the residents of Virginia. I'm going to repeat some of the comments that the governor made just to reinforce them. But this is a very large hurricane. It will remain offshore, but we will see coastal impacts. We need to we want everybody to pay attention that there are multiple National Weather Service advisories, watches, and warnings associated with the storm, and each one of them means something different. So we want people to, really pay attention to their local area and their local weather forecasters. Again, due to the size of the storm, there is going to be dangerous marine conditions, rip currents, tidal flooding, beach and dune erosion, as well as those hazardous seas. That's why you see those warnings over water, not just over land. And again, as the governor mentioned, those outer rain bands can impact the coastal areas. We do not anticipate much impact as we get further inland, but we do ask everybody to be vigilant. Just to reiterate this, the coastal flooding is possible in the Hampton Roads, Eastern Shore, and low-lying areas along the Chesapeake Bay. Those tropical storm force winds may be present on the coastal areas. The marine and surf conditions, we will see hazardous seas, dangerous surf, and life-threatening rip currents, as the governor mentioned, and again, that rainfall. Now, the last thing I want to add about the weather is, if anybody is watching any of the weather forecasts, there are additional storms right behind Erin. We don't have enough detail right now to see where they're going or the timing on them, but we are watching them very closely, and we will, share that information if we do believe there's a threat to Virginians. To echo some of the governor's comments about preparedness, please follow the guidance of your local governments and your local emergency managers. The key there is make sure you're getting your information from trusted sources. We do see a lot of misinformation coming out of North Carolina already, so we want to make sure that our citizens are getting the information from the right place. As the governor mentioned, we want you to stay off and out of the water, not just driving into the water, but as I mentioned, all of the beach conditions, and if you plan on going boating, please just wait until the weekend. The big thing you have to remember here is the choices that you make could impact our first responders. Everybody who goes out and makes a poor decision, we have to put people at risk to try and help you. So we ask you to please make good choices. The last piece I want to add is check on your neighbors. Check on anybody that's elderly, anybody that might have special needs. We want to help each other here. The key here is we don't think there's going to be significant impacts, but any impacts might hurt someone. So please, if you do have neighbors that you can check on, please do that. And again, hope is not a plan here. We want you to prepare now, so make sure you get in front of this. So to add to the governor's actions about what we're doing with the state, the Virginia Department of Emergency Management is activating our Regional Coordination Center in the Hampton Roads area. We are coordinating closely with our local governments. There are a lot of other state agency resources that we are putting on standby and deploying out into the field so that we are ready to support the locals if they have any needs. We're working closely with the Hurricane Center as well as FEMA in case we do need their support. And water rescue assets are ready in case we need them. In closing, I just want to remind everybody, stay vigilant. These storms are big. Sometimes they could be somewhat unpredictable. This one has behaved the way we think it has been forecasted, and that's why we're taking the actions we have. Your preparedness and caution are key to being safe and for us to not have to come save you. And we'll continue to provide updates as the situation changes. Thank you, Mr. Governor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. John, thank you for your leadership. And I also want to thank everyone for your collaboration over the course of the last week as we have been preparing daily and monitoring this storm, and I think the local teams plus the state support is ready. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions that anybody may have. Yes?
Governor, are there any cities or counties that are implementing any voluntary evacuation orders, especially in the flood-prone areas?
At this point, there are no evacuation orders, and there has been a constant communication effort to make sure that people understand that there are risks of tidal flooding, particularly during high tide, but there have not been any evacuation orders, voluntary or otherwise. Hi, Dave.
It doesn't sound as if the rain bands that are going to be at the edge of this large storm are going to cause any flooding issues in Illinois.
Yeah, I just want to say we can't definitively say that, and that's why we are first asking everyone to please monitor your own information sources through trusted sources. Second of all, with the tidal flooding combined with tropical storm rain, there can be flooding as a result, which is why we are being so careful to make sure we have sufficient swiftwater rescue crews and boats, pre-positioned places to respond if needed. Again, Hurricane Erin is a hurricane. The tropical storm warnings are the outer bands, and tropical storms can be very, very tough. And so that's why we're preparing the way we are, but also making sure everybody understands that good decisions will reward people with good outcomes, and to stay in dry, safe places, and again, stay away from the water.
Now, this would, I had meant to ask it, you would be asked, but when you do sort of pre-position for something that may be coming, does that mean other parts of state government put things on hold, or how does that work out?
Well, we first of all have a lot of resources across the state. And that's one of the great blessings of being in Virginia, where we have federal positioned and supported resources along with really great state resources and local resources. And so in this circumstance, where we do believe that this is a localized impact, meaning the greater Hampton Roads area and the Eastern Shore, that we can take resources that might not be needed someplace else and use them. And this is what we routinely do, where we have certain areas of the state that are not expected to need those resources, and we can pre-position them to react. I do think it's also important to point out that the resources are set so that they can move quickly into the region. Some are already pre-positioned in the region, but we also want to make sure that those resources are protected as well so they can be utilized. And it is the combination of utilizing the extensive resources we have at the state level, positioning them well, and making sure that they can be deployed quickly, that makes these guys the professionals that they are. And they do a tremendous job in making sure we do that.
You mentioned that coordination with FEMA. Can you share a little bit more about what that's like, and will it be sticking around for when the rain does hit later in the week?
Yeah, so the normal process with FEMA is one where we first coordinate with them in advance of an event. We then work with them in the middle of an event through any kind of rescue necessary and response. And then, of course, we're coordinated afterwards in our recovery. And so, sadly, we've had a lot of practice at this in Virginia over the last couple of years. And so we once again are prepared to do the exact same. And the initial coordination with FEMA has already happened, and they understand what's happening all up and down the East Coast, given the size of Erin. Would you add anything to that?
The only thing I would add is we have members of FEMA embedded with our agency year-round. So we don't have to actually go reach out to our regional office or headquarters. We have people that are in our building. They sit 6 desks away from where I sit every day. And anything we need, they provide it. They provide us with, updates related to the hurricane that, on top of what the National Hurricane Center gives us. They also give us their analysis.
Will there be an emergency declaration at all, or do you feel what's been staged already is enough for what we're expecting?
Yeah, I believe what we have staged is sufficient for what we are currently expecting. If circumstances change, then we will react very quickly. Oftentimes, an emergency declaration is paired with utilization of the Virginia National Guard and moving even more resources. And at this point, we see such extensive resource capability in the Hampton Roads region. And with the state assets we've already moved, we do believe we're reacting appropriately. If things change at all, then we will reassess. One thing that I have learned is that we should be early and move resources quick. And that's one of the things that our team has done incredibly well. In this case, it is the extensive resource capability in Hampton Roads and the fact that it is a tropical storm warning at this point, which will bring very dangerous conditions. But we do believe with the state assets that have already been moved and the resident ones there that we are well prepared.
Governor, you mentioned that you have state police resources and folks and crews on the Hampton Road side as well as this side of the tunnel. Can you tell us a little bit more this side of the tunnel, meaning this region, the Central Virginia?
Yeah, we're pre-positioned on the Hampton side of the tunnel, and so they're ready to go if they need to be deployed, but they also are available to be used in the peninsula region as well, and I think that's really important. Perfect. Listen, I appreciate everybody's attendance and helping us get the word out. And again, this is a dangerous storm that will have an impact through the Hampton Roads region all the way up the Eastern Shore. We continue to pray that Hurricane Erin takes its right-hand turn as predicted and heads off into the Atlantic. And we are also very much monitoring the follow-on storms afterwards. We're in hurricane season. It's not the first time we've been here. I do believe we are incredibly well prepared. The coordination in the efforts between state and local and federal resources continues to be very good, and therefore I'm confident that we can react appropriately. But it does require a huge amount of cooperation, not just from local, state, and federal resources, but from Virginians. And so I, again, reiterate, please make good decisions. Stay informed and stay away from the water. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great day. God bless you all.